We're giving away 100 XRP, and all you have to do is make sure you press the like button, make sure you are subscribed, and make sure you comment something down below. And also, guys, make sure you check out my second channel called Growth Masters Academy. On here, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make money on Instagram. It's not completely passive, but you can make it if you want that. However, it's a good way to earn some side income. I'm making videos on here, not too often, whenever I have some free time, as there are no ads on these videos. Having said that, guys, let's take another good look at XRP. A couple of guys have been commenting, man, the most recent situation is looking quite dire again, and I'm kind of afraid. And I keep telling you guys, man, do not worry. We need to make bottoms here. We need to solidify those bottoms, and think about this for a split second. All right, any move that you're watching, if it doesn't look as juicy as this, up, a little bit down, another move upwards, a little bit more down, a huger move upwards, a little bit more down, something is definitely wrong. But for XRP, it does still look like that. And a lot of the Elliott Wave analysts, a lot of guys like that, come over into the comment section and say, man, draw that 5-point pattern. Every time I just keep coming back to the same point, and it does follow Elliott Wave. It does follow the broader theory. And basically what that one was talking about, if you guys have seen some other analysts who talk about that, it basically comes down to patterns in fives with subwaves as well. But for all the guys I've watched now that are doing these analyses, and I've actually talked to one of my friends, he's also an Elliott Wave believer. Again, you gotta believe in that type of stuff. But he also says, again, 42-44 cent region is where we're going to be following along with my own personal predictions. So I'm definitely quite happy to see that, and to once more say it, this is generally the idea. You charge upwards, you get a move going, you retrace or you correct, you get a bigger move going, you retract, and you get another bigger move going. And some of the guys have said this was not high enough of a top for move number 2, and we should actually have to go even a little bit higher before it can be considered, I guess, number 3 in the bigger line, right? So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-point pattern. And they said this one is not even high enough for number 3, as it should be even higher because of Fibonacci and whatnot. But the bigger picture is, once more, I think all analysts right now are bullish, and that is even more so shown at the bottom. If you check here on the right, you can see everybody is saying buy, buy, buy. This is indicating strong buy, as most people right now that are trading crypto are very bullish on XRP right now. I've been checking out multiple analysts here and checking what they're saying. Here's Trading Guru. He says basically that things are going to be looking upwards. I have personally not agreed with this whole zone here, as I think, again, we should be watching more so towards 44 cents, which is way more important than 46 to 49. I think they're actually two separate entities, as we have kind of a interesting region happening between 50 or so cents, which is more of a psychological barrier rather than a supply zone or even demand zone, depending on what time we are at. And for right now, I would definitely say that it's okay, as again, we can clearly see that it's a point of interest. There's multiple occasions where we dip in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times even, kind of a 7th if you also count this one. So yeah, it's definitely a point of interest. So is this one. So from that perspective, I agree. But I still think a downward move was very nice to put in here. But let's see, this was written on the 28th of November, a little bit earlier today, I'm assuming then. Since the price of XRP went up so drastically, it's trading in areas where we haven't seen much price action recently. A common trick you can apply in those situations is to go back further in time and find horizontal zones from where the price did trade at that level. I did the same and found strong levels on the daily from September and April 2018. I charted them there to give more understanding about what might happen to the price, which is also why these zones are in here. These are all historical, but I've just not added what zone or what time frame they are from, because again, we have everything kind of put in here. This one is from October. This one is more so from June. Hit once in September, but it's mostly from June. And this one, again, comes back a lot of times. This one is from July of 2019, and the bottom here is only in March. You guys see from the bigger picture right there. Moving further though, price explosion, the bulls are taking over again. This is that little impulse that we saw happen the 28th. And I suggest to place a stop loss slightly below 60 cents. So basically, he recommends to put a stop loss right at this area because we're going to be taking off from here. Since we breached our zone again, or at least are testing the upside of the zone with, of course, some drawbacks right downwards like we would always see. But again, exactly like my kind of prediction where I said, if we scroll to the proper point here, if I can, where'd it go? As I said before, we need to keep trading higher. Let me quickly zoom in here, guys. We need to keep trading higher, but as long as we're within this zone, I think everything is still looking good. If we were to go above there and we would then fall back in, it would be bad. But in this case, we can actually still consider it the upward move. And as long as we're making higher points, which again, here we're kind of not, but I still consider this as part of the bigger move with tests. As long as we're seeing that this move can be sustained, I don't know where he exactly drew this from. He says here, this is a great place to take profit right at about 92 or so cents, I think also my personal zone that we use as well. So that's why I put this one up, because I agree with him on a lot of points. This is a great place to take profit. There might be some psychological resistance at 0.92, so it's probably the best place to take your profit directly below this level at about 89 cents. I think 89 cents itself is an important barrier as well to watch out for though, so be careful. A 40% opportunity here on XRP is absolutely massive. The high volatility as of late gives us these great setups. And by the way, I am wondering, is my talking speed fine, too fast, or too slow? Over the years, I have started to adjust it to being slower, but I'm normally a quite fast talker. But, if you get a lot of people saying talk slower, you automatically start to try and try and try. And it took me so long to get to where I am right now. But now I saw some people say, put it on 1.75 speed, otherwise it's not good. So what do you guys prefer? Let me know. And I will adjust to it because I find any speed fine. So just tell me, then I know. Here is wick off mode, and he says the following are target potentials for the end of 2021. 7.60 to 11.50 price range seems reasonable. 1760 is possible at my personal limit. 35.10 would be insanely high. 3.75 would be disappointing. So that's interesting. Okay, that's an interesting way to view things. So these are projections, and this is something I don't personally ever use, but it's kind of cool. My near to midterm target ranges from 135 to 412 end of 2020. The price we run up for the near and midterm will play a significant role as to how high we can go at the end of 2021, and this is where he's predicting that, but it's going to depend on where we end this year off, I think. Because if we end very, very low, I think that's more towards a lower prediction then as well, right? Or maybe if we reach all the way here at a couple of dollars right now, then we'll follow this line. If we reach somewhere more here, we'll reach something like that. Is that the bigger picture? This actually reminds me of stock to flow models and things like that as well, where it's just like you will just kind of predict on historical patterns. And in this case here, over multiple years, this is what it follows for XRP. So that is most likely the trend we also might continue. It's not certain, but there's a good likelihood for that. However, I think you would then have to draw the middle, right, if we're talking normal regression or something like that, which would point at about 11.50 as a normal price. If we again follow exactly the middle of his two, main scenarios here, it's about $11.50. Still relatively cool though for 1 year. Hi everyone, simply posting price projections for the end of 2021. We need to see how high we go for the near to midterm end of 2020 before we can get a better idea of where we may be heading next for the end of 2021. If cover chart is scrunched up, you might have to take a look at the screenshot down below, which is the same thing, but then again, just kind of readjusted. All right, let's take rid of that. Let's see what the comments have said. Please send okay, he's trying though, he's trying. When XRP was going nuts, it reminded me of some airdrops and stuff like that, where NXT did a 10 times versus BTC in the run. I missed most of it selling early. I expect XRP to be going at least 130 short term, perhaps by mid-December. I think the airdrop is first or second week of December. Anyway, I thought highs for XRP were possible but not probable. I like to see your chart though, maybe $4 is possible. So there's two things I have to add. One, I think the flare drop is going to be nice, but not going to be that profitable. However, I will be holding on for any of the XRP that I do accidentally claim, because I'm not going to be claiming my Ledger XRP because I really don't care for it that much. Worst case, flare is worth 0.00001, right? And I have to buy it back for about $10 worth, maybe. That's the worst case if I really wanted to. I could have gotten $10 for free, wow. And you might say, you're not grateful for free money. Well, it depends. I don't want to see the bad sides to it. I have not found out, but that's maybe because I'm a programmer, but not that good of a programmer. So I have no idea what doing all those steps for Ledger may mean. I mean, to a certain degree, I'm like, Wind would have never told us how to do it if there was a risk, and David Schwartz and the guys over at Ripple would have called it off if it looked like a scam, which it cannot really be, I kind of think. So honestly, I'm not that afraid of it being a scam, but I'm also not really eager to connect my ledger to anything for that matter. I want to keep my money as safe as possible, so I'm not touching anything that has to do with the ledger, especially now that so many huge scams are going around and I don't know who to trust. I also saw the title of a video just now on YouTube saying why Ledger is not trusted anymore or is not safe. The main thing behind Ledger not being safe right now is because they had some breaches where they gave our information away, so our money. But in general, I still think the technology is fine. I'm not really too worried about that. And thus, I don't really know what else to say on that regard. I'm just holding off fine. As long as I'm not touching anything, I think it will be good. And as long as you don't press any links, you don't get phished, I think it'll be good as well. Not that much else to be worried about in that sense. But if you go mess around with some stuff, you might get stained, you might get hurt. And, with XRP, I sometimes say as well, that's why I have that DustyBC cash out type of document. A lot of you guys say, where can I find it? You can find it by becoming a channel member, or you can just Google it and make it yourself. Just Google some sheet and make it from scratch. It is pretty simple if you want to do it, or just look at it logically and put in some formulas. It is not hard. So, I sometimes remind people that you shouldn't be selling too early, but you should always be comfortable with your holdings. If you do not feel comfortable anymore, change it up, switch it up, and maybe sell, right? Maybe sell and buy something else back. I've also told you guys, maybe buy some tangible things, or maybe, again, this is just a maybe, guys, go for something completely different while you're holding to keep yourself busy and not so infatuated with gains, with getting more, with getting better prices, but do some stuff that will earn you money, like the Instagram stuff I am teaching you guys on here. Again, check it out. The main reason for all of that being, you should just have a steady plan in place and not deviate from it. The more you start to think about possible kind of ways to get a couple more dollars, or should I not be cashing out a little bit earlier? The more you're going to make yourself go crazy and make some irrational choices. Then another one from Trading Guru here, and since it kind of picks up on our pace and what we like, I thought, you know what, let's quickly look at it again and see what he has added to the chart here over the last day or so. I added a resistance zone at around 75 cents region. First of all, we see that there is price action that got stopped near this level, causing resistance through price action. But second of all, look at what a beautifully round number the resistance took place, exactly 75 cents. This is considered a psychological zone of resistance, which is interesting because how did he get to 75 cents exactly though? Because it hit it here twice? Yeah, could maybe be so. I didn't actually know that it hit 75 perfectly to the dot. I think that's because every exchange is a little bit differently, but yeah, he's actually right. It did hit 75 cents pretty close there, so that's pretty cool. Target 1, oh no, let's see here. The price is struggling here at the 62 cent level and is not immediately breaking through as I expected. I suggest to try place a stop slightly below the 0.6 level, so right at this area, maybe like right around here. Target 1, try to get along until this zone. This can already reward you with a 14% profit. I've told you guys about that before as well, right? About where we can be taking longs and where we can't. If you wanted to, again, everything in the zone is going to be fine as long as you have your stop right at this level. About 56 cents, I would recommend not going 58. I think is already too risky as we already made a little bit of a bottom right here. I don't really recommend. I would go for maybe like 56 and starting anywhere at the zone. If you're going outside of the zone to buy, though, it might be a little bit risky as we're already going there right now, and there is a chance of falling back down in it, as right now we're creating a backing, kind of a framework for a further move upwards. Bears and bulls are testing each other within this area to see whether or not this move can be supported, so to speak, and whether or not the bulls are really out there more so than the bears are. And that's what these zones are for. That's why I drew them in. These are places of heavy price action, but mostly of heavy trades and heavy volume sometimes as well, but just generally bigger conflicts that happen right in those areas. Sometimes it's supported by heavy volume as well. In this case, it's okay. I'm not going to say that it's that heavy, because sometimes you would see that right in these areas, you would see huge spikes of volume as they're fighting each other, so to speak. but it's not like it's that crazy. But maybe that's also because the bigger picture for XRP here has been that there's already a ton of volume happening. But maybe if you look at the bigger picture here, every time we enter into these zones here, you can see the volume has already gone up to a huge level. But again, if that is because we right now went into a bull run or because we are touching variable zones or kind of scary zones, that I cannot tell. I think a little bit of both worlds. Once target 1 is reached, you can place a stop loss slightly below 75 cents before entering for target 2. Target 2 is right here at about 92 cents or something. Target 2, once we see confirmation of the breakthrough above 75 cents, we can try to get a long in until the 90-cent level, giving us another 70% long opportunity, which is completely following my own theory as well. So this guy has my stamp of approval. I like what he says. It follows exactly my own theories. And yeah, that's something we can definitely be going for here. We've said it before, if we break up to the top side, as long as you have your stop here at 56 cents, nothing is going to matter. Everything's going to be fine. If we break up to the top side, though, this is our first area that we're going to be looking at profits, a little bit below 72.2 cents. At least that's my own personal recommendation. This zone, by the way, is just a test. It's not perfect. Could have been more like this. I don't really know where it should be. It's just one that I drew in for an example, by the way. So this one you should kind of ignore. I could just keep it there for sake of showing, and maybe it should have been as he drew it here. He says it's psychological though, and he just drew it again with normal price action, but it's not actually backed by the 2018 or 17 run or anything along those lines. So with that, by the way, again, if we're going to see a tip above any of these smaller prices here, it's going to be looking very, very bullish again because it looks like we're on a course to seeing at least 71 or so cents. But again, you might also open a position right now, have your stop loss right at this area, right below these 2 points here at about 57 or so point something cents. That might also work. As if we do fall below there, there's a higher chance we're gonna see the bottom happening. However, keep in mind and stay close to your computer because we might see a pump going on to maybe the next level or something like that, with a small retest happening right at this zone, which might hit all the way at the bottom of the zone, which happens more often, as you can clearly see happen right here. Again, zone is breached, flash crash, zone is breached, flash crash, zone is touched, flash crash, and that one resulted in more happening as the trend kind of declined and not enough backing was given, which is something we're kind of afraid of right here as well, but I think everything will pull through. Then I've told you guys on my 5-minute crypto channel already, hopefully. Maybe that video is going to be coming out after this one. I don't yet know for sure. Guggenheim Funds intends $500 million Bitcoin investment, which is once more that he and that whole company is planning to invest $500 million in Grayscale, or at least buying Bitcoin, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Wow, 500 million bucks. And this is, by the way, the biggest company to ever enter into crypto thus far, with like $300 billion worth of assets, or $300 billion under management, or however much money it was, just a huge amount, $260 billion or something like that. So that is pretty damn huge again, but more on this is on the 5-minute crypto channel. Here was another XRP ascending triangle to 80 cents and beyond. It's just kind of funny how people see things differently, but this one also suffices with our bigger theory. He's saying long, most people are saying long, and it's actually kind of interesting if you see somebody say short, because almost everybody I've talked to here is saying long, 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 and the only guy that ever said short was one of the Elliott wave theorists who said, this move is not big enough, but even if it was big enough, the correction was not at all big enough. So we need to fall down lower before we can move even higher. And even if this top was not big enough, since we corrected anyway, we need to correct down lower. Or we're going to be seeing a price action movement or price movement a little bit higher before correcting there again, which is again kind of a short thing because, well, he doesn't know exactly when we're going to be going up, but he knows 42 cents or 43 or 44, I don't remember. Just generally that area needs to be hit before we go, which follows along with my ideas as well that 45 that we did hit was a little bit too high and was not the proper test or the last test that we were going to need. And if you're asking me best scenario, I've told you guys before, I think crypto is going to get mainly adopted, XRP as the CBDC bridge, but those things will also allow for so much utility and so much more money being tied up in this crypto just because they want to have the most liquid asset, XRP. That will go to levels unprecedented, which is why I recommend a lot of people to hold over trading, because you might get a certain rush happening where you can never buy it for cheap again, and I don't want to be not part of that, right? I want to be part, and I want to make sure that I'm into it all. So that's why I sometimes hold more than I kind of, want to. Sometimes I want to trade with more than holding. And I sometimes feel like, okay, I know what's going to happen, so let me quickly take some of that XRP, sell it, and buy back cheaper. But then I remind myself, hey, psychology is reason number one you're doing all of this, because you thought, and again, I'm talking to me, you had your psychology under control, your emotions under control. And if then it turns out I haven't, or again, I did something poorly or stupidly, I would never allow myself to trade again. So I will never make irrational choices when it comes to trading. I always think these things through very, very properly. I will never invest more than I'm able to lose. Again, I think of all these things very properly before deciding whether or not to buy. I recommend you guys to do so as well. And make sure you just check out more, all right? Keep checking out, keep seeing what you can find. These sectors are only getting bigger with time here, guys. Global wealth, $400 trillion. Remittances, which XRP is going for, billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. Again, I'm seeing here a number, $689 billion worth. Forex markets, so foreign exchange, which XRP could be a part of as well, $6.6 trillion a day. Whew, are you guys understanding how big this is going to get? I think you guys all have a little bit of an indication. But yeah, that was it for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. And I will definitely see you guys again in another crypto video. Make sure you check out the Growth Masters Academy though. See you again.